Email between Epstein and Peter Thiel talking about how they plan to destroy the world just like Brexit. What was that tweet? You, when you order cocaine, sweating profusely as you order 3 grams, like with cryptocurrency off the net. Paranoia every time you hear a police siren in the distance. Epstein and his friends talking about how they're going to kids and control the world. Hey, you catching me up at the kids and control the world party? See you there. From Epstein to Peter Thiel. Return to tribalism, counter to globalization, amazing new alliances. You and I agreed zero interest rates were too high. Zero interest rates were too high. What did I tell you guys about lowering interest rates and which kinds of people like that? As I said in your office, finding things in their way to collapse much easier to find the next bargain. From Jeffrey Epstein to Peter Thiel. Brexit, just the beginning. Yeah. Super, super cool. It's super fascinating how Epstein seems to share every single belief the global right wing does. Tribalism over globalism, 0% or lower interest rates, infinite like power to wealthy people. Really, really fascinating. Please explain how they think zero is too high. They want it to be negatives. They want the government to give them free money for borrowing money. What if we did a usury? Negative interest rates technically are the exact opposite of usury. You're not charging interest on a loan. You're being charged interest on a loan. I mean, technically, it's actually as far from usury as anything could ever be. You're agreeing both to give money to wealthy people and also give them interest on the money you've given them. It's crazy. Infinite money hack? Yes. That essentially, yes. What kind of cultural revolution does America need at this point? Dog, it's not just America, man. Pretty much all the West. It's pretty clear, based on the files, that Epstein and the people around him had more or less complete control over the well, complete control is an overstatement, I guess, had extremely strong influence over America, the West, to an extent like post-Soviet Russia and their affiliated countries, you know, and the Middle East, right? Like Saudi Arabia, Israel, obviously, so on and so on. Huge, huge amounts of control, right? Did not have anywhere near as much influence in Asia, Africa, etc. Latin America, too. Not a huge amount of control in Latin America. By the way, I should say, important to note, consistently, the only thing that Epstein and his cohorts were against in these emails, the only thing you see them out against, because they're in favor of everything, man, you know, child rape, etc., is communism. Every time they're mad at a guy, every time, it's communism. They don't like Bernie Sanders. They don't like Jeremy Corbyn, you know? Oh, Norm Finkelstein. That's Mr. Bonelli. That guy. Norm Finkelstein was in the files. You're devastated, I know. But you should know why he was in the files. I believe it was him telling Epstein and Bannon to kill themselves? Or something to that effect, if I remember correctly. It just goes to show, the more you hate Israel, the better a person you are. And I am not a general like Finkelstein Glazer, but it's crazy how like stark that line is. You know, the liberals were like, you can't make everything about Israel. It turns out like a lot of stuff, like at the very least, there's a strong correlation between affiliation with Israel and being a fucking monster. It wouldn't surprise me if there was equivalent in the East of Epstein types. Of course, yeah. There's not just one Epstein, right? Right now, Epstein's network is definitely still being maintained by other people. Like, it's not just one guy or whatever. It is a consequence of power relations. You know, it's a material. Like, yeah, no, there's you've created like an environment in which an Epstein can happen. It's not just the one Epstein. You know, Epstein was not like a unique Ubermensch who defied the material conditions of his time and strode the world in spite of them. You know, he was just a guy elevated by, in most, you know, for the most part, globalization and the, you know, overwhelming income inequalities that led to the wealth disparity we have today. So you're saying it was always socialism or pedophilia? Yes. And you know what else I'm saying? I really do wish that Epstein had made it just a little bit farther into the future, just lived a little bit longer. You know why? He would fucking despise Mamdani. Mamdani could have campaigned on it, you know? That would have been really, really good. Guarantee you. As a New Yorker, too. I mean, you know, it would have been like right in his fucking doorstep. Literally. Despised Mamdani. Guarantee it. 100%. Wasn't he a Jewish supremacist, too? Yeah, he was racist as fuck. He was talking with Ehud Barak about... What was it he said? I think this was actually from an audio file. Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, was saying that they wanted to do something to attract more people to Israel because it used to be that they had to just make a citizen out of any Jew that arrived, but if lots and lots of Jews arrived, they could pick out the highest quality Jews and ignore the ones from like North Africa. Something like that. Yeah, that's the gist of it. It's fascinating how much all these people ideologically overlap with the far right, you know? Former prime minister, man, Jesus Christ. Oh, I get if we're concluding like the Epstein stuff bit. Chomsky's fucking done, dog. The photos of him palling around with Epstein and Steve Bannon are bad enough. He sent an email. Well, he provided evidence or support to Jeffrey Epstein. He sent him like advice on how to manage the PR of the whole being a pedophile thing. I've watched the horrible way you're being treated in the press and public. It's painful to say, but I think the best way to proceed is to ignore it, etc., etc. It kind of like it basically invalidates Chomsky's entire like basically like how could you ever believe Chomsky believed anything that he wrote and wasn't just a cynic narcissist who took advantage of his station if with shit like this in the background, because it goes beyond just like personal failings here or whatever, like being close friends with the deep state guys running the world. Manufacturing consent, I can't believe it. In fairness, not Epstein, sorry, maybe he did, I don't know. Chomsky co-wrote that. He's not the only author on manufacturing consent. Most of the theory came from the other guy. Well, I'd like to believe that. It's not just that he's a piece of shit, it's that he can't actually believe any of the stuff he said, right? This isn't about, like, him personally being a bad guy. It's like his whole theory of the world and the positions that he claimed to have just don't survive his... It goes beyond, like, oh, he was a bit of a hypocrite or whatever, you know? Didn't it come out Chomsky also intentionally squashed people in academia who came out with research and theories that countered his own? Yes, that's been known to an extent for a while. Though obviously this kind of puts it in a different light, you know? I guess it shifts it from conceited, entitled, self-obsessed, academic savant over into this guy was always just riding the high of his fame and never believed a single goddamn thing that he said. Was regularly meeting with Ehud Barak as well. It's fucking crazy, man. Everything is Epstein. Hold on. There are some things that aren't Epstein, like coffee. Zizek is the only real one. He's too Balkan to warrant the attention of Epstein. True. That's true. Epstein only raped, like, white babies or something. That's what I see people on Twitter posting. Actually, it seems most of the girls they trafficked and killed were post-Soviet. They were, like, Russian girls after the formation of the Russian Federation, you know? You swap over nations and bureaucracies, a bunch of people get lost in the paperwork. It makes sense. Melania type shit? Yeah, that's where they got her from. Not really, but, you know. It's confirmed they were killing the girls after using them as slaves? Yeah, but isn't that, like, to be expected? They trafficked thousands of people over the course of their career. There's no way, like, you could never have, like, that operation can't be sustained if you're just leaving a bunch of witnesses. There are references to tons of murders. Apparently, Epstein evidently had a hand in the murder of RFK Jr.'s wife, who was previously thought to have committed suicide. But there are some very damning emails in the Epstein files that indicate not only that there was an interest in killing her, but, like, I think literally after an email was sent to Epstein saying that RFK Jr.'s wife was found hanging. And Epstein replied with, whoops. And there were other emails where they were talking about, like, getting her ass, basically. So, yeah, there's a lot of that stuff. Killed lots and lots of people. Crazy how evil they are. Crazy how they still run everything, you know?